I'm going to give y'all some entertainment while we wait for folks to come on inside, and I'll be right back.
I can remember meeting Lily by way of RCA Music Group. I was a songwriter for MCA Music Publishing. I had written a song called Seemed You Much Too Busy, and they called me because they had this group that they really wanted that song for. And the group was SWV. And when I went into the conference room and I played my music, they really wanted this song. I think they were working with Kenny. I can't remember Kenny's last name, but I know it was Kenny. And I was like, SWV. I didn't even know why. And no disrespect, I love y'all now. But I said, who would name a group SWV? And I'm like, what does that stand for? And I never knew it until later that it was Sisters with Voices, but it was a weird name to me. But I met these young ladies and ended up keeping my own song and releasing it. But my baby's talking over there now. But anyway, I met Lily, and strangely enough to me, and this is no disrespect, she was to me one of the striking ones in the group. She had a very authentic look, and I think it was because she had that round face that was kind of familiar to my family lineage, and I just thought she was beautiful. I thought that she had swag. She was super cool, and I just liked her energy, because she was confident but not overconfident, and I think I really liked that about Lily. So I met them that day in that boardroom to play some music for them.
The best memory of my career. Damn, is there one? I think the best memory of my career was actually getting signed. Coming from the Bronx and just a young girl with two friends who loved to sing, and we never knew what would come out of it. So I think that was the best part of my career I can remember, was just someone believing in us enough to sign us. If I had to give an upcoming artist some advice, it would definitely be,
What up, what up, what up, sexy people? What up, beautiful people? I had to give it a little bit of time to reset the energy in the room. I have no idea why. Hey, you. Hello, hello, hello. Thank y'all for coming in. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. You guys, I have no idea why I keep getting knocked off of YouTube and Twitter and all of the various outlets. But the thing about me is, I'm going to come back. I'm going to always come back. I'm like Uma Thurman in Kill Bill. I'm going to always come back. So I thank you guys for always coming back and hanging out with me. I don't know. I can't even call it, you guys. I'm plugged in now, and I don't know. These people, baby. These people. Relentless Aaron. Relentless Aaron is capitalizing me, so I think that is his version of yelling. To get my attention. Hello, Relentless Aaron. I see your all caps, and I see that you are reaching out. And let me read what Relentless Aaron has to say about this thing here, because we believe in letting all opinions be heard. And Relentless Aaron is on my Instagram, and he has something that he wants to say. He wants to say, you ran this same narrative when I brought the subject up before, the reason you're sidestepping this. That tear down mess is played. When you play victim, you want the whole world to hear you. But when it's me, you turn your back and play kumbaya. I am done with you. You don't deserve your fame or your platform if you continue to be biased and spit on people like me who supported you early. I'm not going to tear Diddy down. Fuck out of here, Nikki Gilbert. Diddy didn't need your help. He already toe up from the flow up. Goodbye, Diva. Good luck to you, karma. So that's what he wanted me to know, because I said early on in my message. So see, I'm an equal opportunity person here. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and add it, to the thing. You yelled it out, and you said you're done and you're leaving, and I want to make sure that make sure I give you a good exit. Cause child. So there may be other people who feel like Aaron does. Like, share, subscribe. There may be other people who feel like Aaron does. And obviously somebody really hurt him. And I get it because I've been hurt too, brother. Absolutely. I think you ran the same narrative, blah, 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 blah. Okay, hold on, guys. Let me get y'all in here. Because it's gonna be one of them. It's gonna be one of them nights. Like, share, subscribe. Yeah, I wanted to give him. Listen, he was all capping me, so I all capped and gave you the floor, sir. I don't know what's going on. Why is there double of me? It's just so much, y'all. This Ecamm. Let me find out that I'm gonna have to find another service other than Ecamm to broadcast. Hold on, guys, because I don't understand for the life of me why I'm having all these problems with Ecamm. I've been grandfathered in Ecamm, and there's all kinds of things that are going backward. Lives are stopping and getting shut down, and we know folks got friends in high places, but damn, level the playing field. Just like I just leveled the playing field and let relentless Aaron scream all caps, and I shared his story. So I don't know if you're still around, Aaron, but this is for you, brother. I know that you have a lot of anger and hostility in your heart. If it was your daughter, I bet you'd sign up another tune, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so Aaron, first of all, listen, I'm going to try not to block you because I believe that, everybody should be entitled to their opinion. But I'm going to need you to slow down on the caps and spamming me, or I'm going to block you. And then we can forget about each other, right? Or I can have a conversation and, we can maybe share information that might help more than just you and I. You know what I mean? You guys, babe, would you come and get Kato, please? Because he's in here snoring and I don't want him snoring all the way through my live. Let me take a swig of water and recenter things. While I'm taking a swig, y'all can take a punch on that like button. Because, baby, when I tell you, come on, buddy. Come on. Let's go see what your daddy. Go with your daddy because you loud and snoring. Baby, when I tell you, getting this live started was a lot. Lord God. Ain't nobody disturbed and on the right side of history. Okay. All right, let me address Aaron, please. And I usually really like Aaron's. And I'm not saying that I don't like you. I'm just saying let me address this. And I'm saying just stop yelling caps so I don't have to block you because I don't want to do that. So you've mentioned on numerous occasions you've wanted to come up on my lives. You've wanted to talk to me about your book and the things that you have going on with Puff. I do remember meeting you some years ago. I'm not even trying to be shady. I don't remember it like that. Your face looks familiar because after the last time you went off on me, I was like, well, let me see who this is and just make sure, because there are times when I meet people and I forget and I'm like, damn, that, is a really important person in the fiber and fabric of my career, right? But let me say this. Number one, your issues with Diddy are your issues with Diddy. Your personal issues with Diddy are your personal issues with Diddy. When I say that I'm not here to bash him, when I say that I'm not here to throw him under the bus, I'm saying that not because I don't believe what he did, if he did it, was heinous and foul and horrible. And if you know anything about me, then you know that I already have a documentary with a woman who has been sexually assaulted and molested for most of her life. And that woman just happened to work with Diddy, not by Diddy, but happened to have worked with Diddy. So a lot of things that she went through were triggered by her experiences, or a lot of the experiences with Diddy triggered some of her issues that she has to date. I'm an advocate for women. I'm an advocate for victims. I'm an advocate for justice. So I understand that you want the opportunity. I'm going to give you this attention and this time because I understand that you want the opportunity to hold this anger and frustration that you have about whatever happened with you and Diddy against people who are not giving you their platforms to make sure that you have a place to just voice all of your concerns and all of these things. But what you are talking about, sir, are allegations, right? I don't see a claim. I don't see anything that you have filed in court. I see a book, right? And let me make it clear to you. I'm very careful about making sure that I'm not just running with allegations and shit about people, because I'm in the middle of a litigation that is costing me millions of dollars and is potentially costing me millions more, right? And the one thing I've learned in the 4 years that I've been in the middle of this litigation is you can't just run with some shit that somebody told you and make it bond. You have to go through a process that is called being proven guilty, right? Unfortunately, some of us in this fucking community don't get the opportunity to go before a judge and a jury and have a fair trial to determine whether or not we are proven guilty, right? Some of us don't have that opportunity. People who have actually filed claims and filed litigations. So if you had a claim or some sort of litigation that had been filed, like Cassie and Dawn and all the women who have filed claims against him, then, I can understand there being a little more frustration. But what I'm saying, okay, you're a world-renowned author, and I applaud, no, seriously, I applaud you for that. I'm a world-renowned singer, and the shit still applies to me too. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you are. As long as this is the color of your skin, you are always going to be faced with challenges, adversity, trauma, and all kinds of sugar honey iced tea that you don't deserve. So get in line, join the motherfucking club, and there are thousands of women and people in this industry who have been victimized by people like Diddy, who have been victimized by people who don't look like Diddy, quite honestly. And we've dealt with it and we've held it in. And when we're ready to have the rubber meet the road, we go to court and we file a claim, some legitimate shit that costs money, that actually gives you an opportunity to have some actual real results, as opposed to just writing a book and getting pissed off at somebody because they're not going to let you come on their platform that's already being monitored. Every move I make, every word I say, everything I say is recorded. They've made it clear to the judge and everyone involved that they be on my lives and on my YouTubes. Hello, Lionsgate stars, P Valley, Katori Hall, all the lawyers, all of y'all, hello. And I'm not going to spend any more time on this with you, sir. What I am saying is, I know Drew Dixon, and I know other people who have been assaulted by other people, not just him. And that's what I'm saying. You've personalized your experience to the point where you can't see big picture. I'm not even personalizing the experience that I've been in for 4 years. This fight I am in is not even about me. This fight that I am in against Lionsgate stars, Katori Hall, and P Valley is about writers and setting precedent and changing things that will ultimately make it better for people like us who've been victims of very powerful people to be able to navigate the legal system, because that's the only way you can do it, right? Nobody cares. Let me just, first of all, let me drink some water, because I done got a little rah-rah in Detroit up in here, because ain't nothing like somebody. Because the thing is, I understand the frustration, sir. I understand how angry you are, Aaron. I understand how it gets under your skin and how it just makes you want to, man, listen, the fact that I might have to give my whole house to the mother, because I already believe took everything from me, is a whole thing. The fact that I have a sister with brain cancer right now who has to have another surgery is a whole thing, brother. So just don't let it get you to the point where you're attacking people because they're not responding to your book, or they're not responding to your story the way that you want them to. If you really want to see positive change happen, this whole Diddy thing should not even just be about you, sir. It should not be about you and what he did to you. At the end of the day, you should be celebrating. You shouldn't be angry and hostile. You should be celebrating. If what you want is to get somebody who has done something terrible to you off the street, then you should be celebrating, honey. Not coming on Nikki Gilbert Daniels Live with this bullshit. I'm sorry. Talk to me like you got some sense and we can have a conversation. But again, the reason why I don't let you just come on my live and talk about your book is because I don't see where you filed a claim in a court of law. Okay. My husband said stop addressing it. I don't see where you filed a claim, but I think I had to expressed this for as long as I've had to, which is, what is this, 15 minutes into my live, because you just keep coming at me. And I'm an advocate, and I just really want you to understand, um, sir, everybody's been through hell with this guy, apparently, allegedly. Now let's get into the allegations. Can we please? Because, yeah, I'm not the one to be reading and going off. If you're watching me on Instagram, then please don't hesitate to go on over to YouTube, because we're trying to build this YouTube channel up. Hey, Lonnie B, I love you too. I love you too. Hey, 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 hey. Yeah, so let's talk about, first of all, before we get into Diddy, let's reset the room. If you guys are not aware, because the YouTube channel did all kinds of crazy shit and would not let me, be. Wendy Williams, the executor or a guardian of her estate, has filed a claim. Speaking of filing a claim, that's how you get shit done. It's expensive as all get out, but that's how you get things done. You take them to court. So yes, YouTube is back up. Thank you, Sora. I appreciate you so much. So Wendy Williams, guardian, had some real serious accusations that she accused A&E of taking advantage of the sister. And I'm really sad to hear that the guardian believes that Miss Wendy Williams is going to need some kind of medical help for the remainder of her life. That sounds really serious, and that sounds really, it makes me sad, because, again, when I think about Wendy Williams, I think about a person who, man, that purple couch, like, what would Wendy's perspective be? I think it was one of the magazines, Essence or somebody, posted a question about what Wendy would feel in this situation with Diddy. And let's unpack this a little bit. So unless you've been under a rock and you have not been paying attention, hold on, I'm going to read. I got something to read for y'all. I'm resetting. Hold on, Diddy. Diddy has been arrested. From what I understand, there are over 300 people who were, in fact, subpoenaed. And I have to find one of these sites that's going to allow me I'll go to TMZ, because everything is behind a doggone paywall. Diddy has been indicted on sex trafficking, racketeering, kidnapping charges. Sean Diddy Combs is now a defendant in a sex trafficking, racketeering, and kidnapping case after a grand jury indicted him. This is according to official documents. Diddy has been charged with 3 counts of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. According to the indictment from 2008, y'all, that's a long time ago. According to the indictment from 2008 to the present, members of the Combs enterprise allegedly engaged in sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion, enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics offenses, kidnapping, arson, oh my goodness, bribery, and obstruction of justice. According to the indictment, the purpose of the Combs enterprise was to operate I'm reading this for the first time with y'all. Oh, Lord. According to the indictment, the purpose of the Combs enterprise was to operate a global business in the media, entertainment, and lifestyle industries. The purpose also includes preserving Diddy's power and fulfilling his personal desires, especially in relation to his sexual gratification, including through the exploitation of women and the use of commercial sex workers. The indictment mentions the now famous freak-off parties, calling them elaborate and produced, sex performances. Come on, P-Valley. That Combs arranged, directed, masturbated during, and often electronically recorded. The indictment alleges that Combs lured women into his orbit under the pretense of a romantic relationship and then used force, threats of force and coercion, that word keeps coming up, to cause victims to engage in extended acts of sex with male commercial sex workers. Ooh, this is a lot. Ooh, child. Hold on. Ciao. Make sure y'all hit like and subscribe. Oh my goodness. Shake a tail feather. Golly, I'm not trying to make light of it, but damn. The indictment does not include details on kidnapping allegations. What? Other than they occurred in California, as did arson and bribery. Oh my God. As for the drug charges, they allegedly involve the intent to distribute narcotics, including cocaine, oxycodone, Xanax, GHB, the date rape drug, MDMA, and ketamine. The indictment references what was seized during the raids at Diddy's homes in Beverly Hills and Miami, various freak off supplies, including narcotics, and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. It also seized a word I probably can't say on YouTube, blah, 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 blah. So Tuesday morning, his sons showed up in court. His lawyer, Marks, is said to be going to the courthouse. He's going to fight. And allegedly what has happened since, and I did get a chance to watch the press conference, and I was really kind of blown away. Not kind of blown away. I was blown away by this press conference because, first of all, what struck me is that this is a brother. And I know some of y'all probably like, Lord God, child, can you stay on task here? But my question was, did he listen to Diddy music? Like, is he, like, before this came up and ended up on his desk as a black man, and it sounds kind of lightweight ridiculous, I know, but as he was reading the indictment, I remember thinking to myself, damn, how interesting must it be, or crazy must it be to be like prosecuting someone who has been such an important part of music, such an important part of the entertainment industry, right? And what I mean when I say that this ain't about, he ain't shit, he drugging out. Of course, we all know that. We all saw the video. It goes without saying what happened to Cassie and what happened to any other woman who has been the victim of these atrocities. Anything close to what we saw on video is terrible, and it deserves punishment, right? But let's be intelligent adults and let's have a different conversation here tonight about all of this, right? Right. Tony says, Lord have mercy, Jesus. Leo says, sending love from Detroit. There's my Lonnie B. Lonnie, I'm trying to be like you, boo. I'm trying to get my YouTube chops up. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. All right. Tony says, so he must have seen the hotel video who supports men that abuse women. Oh, right. Exactly. So anyway, Diddy is done. He is already bashed and through with exactly. It's not looking good for Diddy at all. And I want to talk a little bit about the 90s. Okay, I intentionally wore my 90s R&B shirt on this here day because I believe that 90s R&B is what is going to ultimately save Black entertainment and Black music. Period. I feel like we have had so many years of hip hop, and this is not to be shady, because there are a lot of dope hip hop artists out there that I still love to this day. But there's a woman by the name of C. Dolores Tucker. There's a woman out here in these streets by the name of C. Dolores Tucker, and I wish like hell that I had a picture of C. Dolores Tucker so that I could put it up so that you guys could look and see the great big old fat I told you so expression on her face. And I'm bringing up C. Dolores Tucker for a very, 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 very good reason, and a very important reason. And that reason is because C. Dolores Tucker predicted that the entertainment industry and the music industry, she said flat out, unequivocally, without a doubt, no question, she predicted exactly where we are today. And the reason why it's important for us to pay attention to our elders when they're talking and not be so busy complaining and talking about what we need and what we think and what we expect, but paying attention to experience and knowledge, like C. Dolores Tucker. I'm going to say it one more time for the people in the back who can't hear me. C. Dolores Tucker. She was a person who, like myself, I like to say I summoned the spirit of C. Dolores Tucker, because I've been fighting this fight for a very long time in this entertainment industry about changing things, because we are headed in the direction of complete and utter destruction. First of all, let me say this. Every person in the industry right now, when we found out that he got arrested, I think everybody thought, well, damn, at first, picked our mouths up off the floor. And then we started thinking, what does this mean for the future of entertainment, especially when the DA, the prosecutor, said this ain't the beginning, the middle, and the end. This indictment today is not where it ends, and nothing is off the table, if I want to quote him correctly. And my question is, how do you address an issue that has happened with Bill Cosby? It has happened with R. Kelly. It has happened with, I think, Mystical went to jail for our wording a woman. You look at what happened with Tory Lanez. You look at there's so many. And again, this isn't a conversation about why they always trying to take down the black man and this and that and the third. That's not what this is about. But intelligent thinking people who are not afraid to look at all of the circumstances and the claims and really come up with some emotionally intelligent responses to it. We all have to look at it and say, what's happening, right? Now, I'm not saying why are so many black men being accused of assault and raping. I shouldn't have said that on Instagram. I mean, on YouTube. I'm sorry. I'm learning my YouTube etiquette. I'm not saying that there's a conspiracy against these men, right? Because clearly these men were in the room, right? Something happened. And I guess what I'm getting at is, it's like the post that I posted earlier today. When Whitney Houston died, I remember very specifically thinking to myself, F all of these people running around, scrambling, trying to figure out what she was taking and what happened and what it looked like and what was the scene like and what this and that and the third, and rushing to be on television. And I know I was one of those people who was rushing to be on TV too, but I was rushing to be on television for a very different reason than a lot of the other people who were just there to exploit this incredible, legendary artist for clicks and likes and views and shit, right? I was there to counterbalance, for lack of a better word, a narrative that I knew was going to be all about, well, what was she taking? And you know, she was on drugs, and you know, crack is whack and crack is cheap and all that other shit. I was there to ask the question, who was watching that shit for all of these years? Who was just sitting back, parlaying, drinking the champagne, bottles up in the air dancing with Diddy, with Cosby, with Kelly, with Whitney, with everybody? Michael Jackson was accused of the same thing. Who were the people who were in the room who were facilitating the behavior? Who were the people? Because you're aware of everything. Just like I said, stars and them watching me right now, waiting for me to say something that could be used against me in a court of law. They watching everything. They got people watching, this one watching, person on the corner with the such and such, the digital people watching. They know everything. How is it that you don't know and you can't figure out how to find out? When you got an asset as big as Whitney Houston, when you got an asset as big as Diddy, when you got an asset as big as R. Kelly, when you got an asset as big as Michael Jackson, when you got an asset as big as Prince, you're a corporation that makes billions and billions and billions of dollars. How is it that so many artists slip through the cracks? How is it that the freak off parties, I'm not dismissing anybody's behavior here, because it's foul and it's terrible and it's going to go to trial and we're going to hear all the dirty laundry. We're going to hear all the terrible things. We're going to hear about the baby oil and the chains and the whips, and I'm just talking sideways. But we're going to hear about all these things that have happened, much like we did in the R. Kelly situation. Yeah? And we're going to be entertained by it, and we're going to be sitting up with our popcorn, and we're going to be watching shit on YouTube. We're going to be watching it everywhere, and we're going to, and the companies, the media companies, the record companies, they're going to make money. They're going to make money off of the record sales. They're going to make money off of the clicks and the views. Once again, the destruction and the demise of Black people is going to be profited off of. And then once you have taken all the blood from the rock, all the grease from the duck, then we are going to be left to figure this shit out, to figure out how we explain this to our children, to figure out how we share that they don't really care about us, right? So you got all this horrible shit that was happening, allegedly, and I'm saying allegedly, Aaron, because I have to. Legally, that's the shit you do when you don't want to get sued over and over again, right? So allegedly, right, you have these parties. Everybody knew about Diddy parties. I went to some Diddy parties. I went to 2, I believe. One, I was geeked up and young and like, ooh, I'm at a Diddy party. And by the time I got invited to the second one, I was like, this ain't my scene. Let me explain to y'all what I mean when I say this ain't my scene. So when I went to the party, you know, it was one of those things where you get, a lot of people don't even realize. And that's the thing, like, the average person doesn't understand how this machine works, right? You just, you know, they put a name out in the press and they put a face out in the press, and then you just kind of run with that, right? But there's so many layers and so many pieces. And I think the indictment talked about that. Like, it's a very sophisticated machine that allows this kind of shit to actually happen to people. This is not no amateur hour shit, right? Now, again, I don't know all the details of the indictment, but I'll say when I went to a Diddy party, first one I went to, we went with some record folks, and it was just sort of the thing to do. And this is early 90s. This was before, like, you know, all that extra freak off stuff. And even then the parties were like, ooh, because, you know, it's the who's who. If you're a Black person in the entertainment industry and you haven't at the very least heard of a Diddy party, now I'm not saying everybody went, but you haven't at least heard of it. So then you start thinking, well, let me tell you. So one party I go to, and I just saw some things that made me realize this ain't really my scene. Now, mind you, I think that people should be able to do what they want to do when it comes to like sexuality and this and that, as long as you're not hurting somebody, forcing somebody to do it, you know, drugging somebody into it. That's where it starts to get, you know, into something else. Because again, a person could say, hold on, Nikki Gilbert, you say allegedly for Diddy and Aaron, but not for R. Kelly. Because R. Kelly has been convicted people. R. Kelly is serving time for something that he was convicted for. Bill Cosby served time for something he was convicted for in a court of law. Now, whether or not they're appealing those convictions, like I'm appealing my case, I don't know. But when something is written in a court of law and it says convicted of serving time for, then you don't say alleged anymore, right? Unless you're just being hard-headed and just and what you call it, thinking in your own mind. Legally, he was convicted of it. Diddy still has to go through a process of it being determined whether or not he is guilty. Now, listen, I believe the victims all the time. And the reason I believe the victims is because I'm an advocate for victims. I've been around enough of them. I've spoken to plenty of them. I know people personally who have been victims of lots of people out here in these streets doing horrible shit to them. So I tend to err on the side of the victim. You know, like when you go to court, usually the judge is supposed to, lean in favor of the plaintiff because most people don't just come in with allegations and shit, right? You know what I'm saying? But, it's not how it always works. So let me get back to the important shit. So thank you. Should not have to break that down. That's before he got sentenced, Nikki. And yes, Robert is appealing. Okay, so let me tell y'all something about Robert. All right, let me tell y'all something about anybody who comes up in a situation like this. For those of us who have been in the business for a long time and who have built relationships with people, it's why I understand why people might not always just be in my corner immediately, right? I actually absolutely loved R. Kelly. I loved his music. I knew him personally. I spent time with him. I spent space with him. If you've ever been on any of my lives before, I've said very clearly, R. Kelly was going to actually do the soundtrack for Soul Kitten's Cabaret. And I'm going to be real adult about it and say that I had heard about a lot of these allegations and things against R. Kelly. I did not watch the video. I have no desire to see that. I wasn't in that space. I wasn't running in them circles, but I knew Rob, right? And I remember sitting in the studio with R. Kelly thinking to myself, this is one of the most talented human beings I've ever seen in my life. It was a group of us actually meeting about Soul Kitten's Cabaret, which is ironically what I'm in court about right now. But I met with Rob. I met Andrea. I met his daughter. I went to his house in Chicago. I went with the cast. He played us a really amazing album that he did that was like a whole like sort of Disney, you know what I'm saying? Um, it was amazing. And when I found out about what he had done and I heard from the victims and I saw that in a court of law, I didn't watch his whole trial. I had a really hard time. Watching the Gayle King interview, just because I started, part of me started feeling the same way. I started feeling like, damn, what is going on with Black men? Why does this keep on happening to our brothers? So this is the point I'm trying to get to, because I keep getting distracted by paying attention to the comments, and I don't need to pay attention to the comments because I'm gonna address them. The music industry is built on misogyny, hypermasculinity, destructive narratives of Black women. We have been conditioned to believe that sex and drugs and rock and roll is just normal. It's par for the course. It's what the music industry should be about. It's what entertainment should be about. When I asked the question about whether or not record companies should start testing artists and creatives, I asked that question in 2012 when Whitney Houston first passed away. And I asked the question because I was just so frustrated and so disgusted that we lost another artist to drug addiction, right? Now, yeah, there's the violence, which is crazy too. Like, how are you like a major recording artist and you end up, the victim of gun violence? That's crazy to me, right? But the drug thing is almost like, party, 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 let's all get wasted. This is what we do. This is a rite of passage. If you don't do this shit, then you're not. And I'm not talking about people smoking weed, and I'm not talking about lightweight shit. I'm talking about things that cause people to have instant heart attacks and just really terrible, awful, terrible drugs, especially now with the way stuff is. I've got cousins and relatives and family members, unfortunately, who have just lost their lives because they got a bad hit of something. So when we start talking about the entertainment industry, y'all, this industry makes billions and billions of dollars. Like, This is an industry that makes billions of dollars off of creatives. And now we have come to the realization that it was controlled by people like Diddy, right? I'm seeing and I'm reading that Kevin Liles is leaving his position. I have a feeling a lot of other people are going to start walking away from their positions. Again, I'm not going to be the person to speculate and give y'all a whole bunch of innuendo and shit, but I just feel like, the block is hot. When you hear and you read about Russell Simmons, right? When we have experiences with people, let me get back to this because this is a really important point I need to make. So people in the press tend to really be, not people in the press, people in the community and people in the press tend to want to know right away what celebrities think about what their counterparts have done, right? So there's a ton of people who probably want to know what everybody who knows Puffy thinks about what's happened, right? Think about that. Puffy was on everybody's guest list, and all of the biggest celebrities were on his guest list. Puffy, that he showed to people who weren't at the freak offs, was a different guy than we're discovering through these videos and these indictments. You hear the stories, but you're like, damn, this is not the guy I met. I've been in rooms with Puff. He's never said or done anything disrespectful to me, but at the same time, I also think that these people in this industry that are participating in these activities know who they can bring that shit to and who they can't. So some of us were never a part of that. I was never, like I said, I've been to 2 parties and it was like, well, and that was years ago in the 90s when I was super young and didn't know no better. But what I'm saying is that you got all of these really powerful people who make it possible for people like Puff, like R. Kelly, like Bill Cosby, like Tory Lanez, like anybody who has been convicted of a crime. I feel bad for Tory. I feel bad for Tory Lanez. And this is the reason why, before y'all start attacking me. The reason I feel bad for a lot of these young brothers is that they are working in an industry that glorifies toxic, destructive behavior. Not only does this industry glorify toxic, destructive behavior, but it rewards it. It rewards it with money. It rewards it with cars. It rewards it with more opportunities, right? So you have a system in the entertainment industry where you have people who are not super talented, i.e. Puff, no shade. He's good at picking shit. I guess you call that a talent. But when it actually comes down to him actually producing and performing and stuff like that, he's not considered super talented. He's just a brilliant, or had been a brilliant mastermind of a A&R person or whatever you want to call it. Let me make sure I got it in my nose, y'all. Hold on. Puffy is like a brilliant A&R person, right? Always known that. I think I'm good. Then you got people who are talented. So in the entertainment industry, everybody wants to party. Everybody wants to have a good time. You want to hear your music loud. You want your lyrics to be ratchet. You want shit to be a certain way. The industry is run by people who don't care about talent as much as they care now. Used to be where talent mattered. But now the industry is run by people who only care about marketing a lifestyle. And Ciroc and all these liquors and all of these alcoholic beverages and let's party and let's get wasted and be on demon time and all of this other shit. That is why these people are signed into these 360 deals, so that they can promote that shit. The music is a very small part of how these people are able to leverage these celebrities. These celebrities are selling lifestyle, and the lifestyle that they're selling is a lifestyle that appeals to young people who want to just party. We know how when we were younger, we used to be out in these streets gigging, listening to, NWA, You know what I'm saying? F the police and blah, blah, blah. And then as you get older, you're like, well, I didn't quite mean that. You know, Luke popped that, but you're like, what? A freak Nick? You're like, what? But we never have a chance to age out of it because people like Puff and people who are still living vicariously in their youth in that party space continue to pour that lifestyle and that narrative into our community. And it just infests everything. And then that becomes the thing that magnifies, right? We magnify and multiply what we see on a regular basis. And what we see on a regular basis is not controlled by Puffy. What we see on a regular basis is not controlled by Tory Lanez. What we see on a regular basis, and I say it every time I go live, is what is controlled by the OOTA, OOTA, the owners of the algorithm. They have discovered that if they pump our community full of these narratives, no matter how destructive they are, to party, to drink, to have sex, to beat up on your women, to floss and flodge about a lifestyle that you don't. I mean, give me a break. Everybody thought he owned Ciroc. Turns out he does not. He was marketing it. Everybody thought 50 Cent owned Power. Turns out he does not. He was marketing it. We've got to understand the difference between what we are being put in position to market and promote to our community and what we are doing when it means ownership of something within our community that we created or that we have some partnership or ownership leverage in, that we can actually pour back into our community in various ways. And what we've discovered is, someone says, so Nikki, is it safe to get rid of all of these handlers and gatekeepers? You know, at the end of the day, we don't even know who the people are, right? They have the consultants and the managers and the, middlemen and all this other stuff. We don't really know who these people are at this point. We know that for years, the industry has been controlled by a small group of people. And this small group of people includes Puff, right? He's think about it, you guys. This is a much bigger thing than just, ooh, Puffy's in trouble. Think about everything and every artist and everything that he's touched and everything that Bad Boy has touched. Think about how much of an important role he has played in the culture. Think about how many people were like, when I grow up, I want to be like Diddy. Think about how many young women sacrificed and compromised and acquiesced to shit that they really shouldn't have or didn't want to be a part of because they thought that this was the only way to do it. Think about all the people who were actually looking out for the community and trying to do something positive within the community who were not allowed to do it because instead they were promoting and amplifying the messages of R. Kelly and Diddy and Tory and whatever. And those men don't own these record labels. Those men don't own these distribution companies, right? Those men are hired to perform. Where do we draw the line when it comes to looking at all of this destruction in our community that has happened through the entertainment and music industry and figuring out how we fix the issue, right? Let me get into some of y'all's comments. That is why I like the fact that Tyler Perry has his own. Yeah, let me talk about that real quick. Tyler Perry does have his own, right? God bless the child that's got his own. But at what point is Tyler Perry going to position other people to have their own? Right? I'm sure there are people out there who are talented and who deserve the opportunity to have ownership of the things they create so they could build something similar to what Tyler Perry and Byron Allen and all these people, Oprah, all these people have been able to build, right? This is a classic example of what I've been talking about for the last 15 years. If you don't put other people in your community empowered to grow and to become great like you are, then what happens when they come for you and they take you down? Oh, because they coming all the time. And the reason our community suffers the way that we do is because you don't put other people in position so that you don't become overwhelmed with power. And you don't become overwhelmed with acknowledgement of being filmed by, written by, produced by. At some point, that shit gets old. I'm 50, about to be 55 years old next year, and I'm so ready to pass the baton to the next creative person. I'm so ready to help the next creative person figure out how to have ownership, how to own their own studios, how to own their own content, how to put together their own shit. We don't need another movie from Tyler. We don't need another movie from 50 Cent. We don't need another record from Diddy. We don't need another such and such from Oprah. No offense and no shade. What we need are fresh, innovative, dope ass creatives who have the opportunity to learn under the tutelage of these people who have figured out the master plan, who have figured out a way to grow wealth and build community, generational wealth and wellness. When you are a greedy, egomaniacal person, not suggesting any of these people I just named are, but when you are and you have that spirit, then it's me, fi me. And then when you're stuck and you're wondering why people are looking at you laughing, no, looking down at you laughing, that's what you get. You ain't never do nothing. Do you know how many people Diddy was able to touch throughout his career? Do you know how many talented, incredible artists that should have been given the opportunity, not given the opportunity, that worked and earned the opportunity to have some ownership and some generational wealth and wellness opportunities that could be standing up and like, no, this guy did this and this guy looked out for me this way and this guy looked out for me that way. Instead, you're a man alone on an island wondering why your friends don't see you. As Black people, we tend to applaud the transgressions and the failures of one another more than anybody else. And the sad part about it is we're so caught up in wanting to not see somebody more successful than you that we have had an industry for the last 30 years at least where Black people have been given record labels. I mean, think about it. Master P had a label. Diddy had a label. Michael had a label. All these creatives had all of these labels, right? All of these opportunities that we thought we had to build generational wealth in our communities. And now we are literally back at one. It ain't one person. Well, or maybe two, Jay-Z and Beyonce. But every other mogul in this industry, every other person in this industry who could have been or would have been in position to like help our community grow, that's how we make the most money. That's why Puff made the money that he made. That's why he was able to put up $50 million or whatever it is for bail. Because he was able to build some form of wealth based on the opportunities that were provided to him by people who knew exactly what he was doing. I'm going to say it one more time. They knew exactly what he was doing. People knew what R. Kelly was doing. People knew what Bill Cosby was doing. People knew what Tory was. You don't just, oh my God, I'm so shocked and surprised that this is what's happening. You guys, it happens over and over and over again to people in our community, and we don't ever get to the root of the issue, which is, again, why don't artists have protections like athletes? Why don't artists have protections like people who work in corporate America? Artists influence a lot of people. Our music influences a ton of people. If there's any area in the Black community that needs or deserves to have some sort of gatekeeping in a positive way, it's Black entertainment and media. Cardi B got 60, 70, 100,000 million trillion followers. Sexy Red selling. but think about the message that we're putting out there. The message that we're putting out there was created by Diddy and anybody else who continue to deliver that sex, drugs, and rock and roll energy that has now successfully destroyed the legacy of hundreds of Black entertainment people. Whitney's gone, Michael's gone, Bob is gone. Like all the greats, Marvin Gaye, like all the greats. So I ask, is it time for a reckoning? Is it time for record labels to be held accountable for people? And here's the thing about it though. NFL players, they're not, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Somebody correct me if I am. But I don't see how NFL players are making money for NFL teams forever in perpetuity. I don't see how nurses and doctors are making money for hospitals forever in perpetuity. I don't see how corporations, people who lead corporations, are making money for their corporations in perpetuity. I know exactly how artists and creatives make money for their bosses or the powers that be in perpetuity. Because music, like with our King Frankie Beverly, like with Aretha Franklin, like with Whitney Houston, like the music that will continue to play once Puffy is dealt with, is going to make money forever. It's going to make these record labels money forever in perpetuity. And all the Black community is left with is a sea of destruction and chaos. You guys, there was a time when music and entertainment actually meant something to our community. It was actually a time where you woke up in the morning and you hear, wake up, everybody, no more sleeping. You're ready to go and attack your day. You hear a gospel record on a Sunday at church and it changes everything. You hear a hip hop album before you go in and get your ready. We are constantly being of service to our community when we're making good music. We are constantly being of service to our community when we're preparing something that is developed and something that is coming from a place of love. As a little girl, I wanted nothing more. I got that brush, man. I got that brush or that comb. Baby, you couldn't tell me nothing. What y'all want me to sing? Because one day I'm going to be famous. And one day everybody going to hear my voice. And every creative, every talented person has had that moment where they just like, let me just heal the world with this gift God gave me. And all the greats were destroyed, especially when they start asking questions about shit. You start asking questions about stuff, you start getting a little older and a little wiser, and you start to understand and know this is not how this is supposed to work. Why is it that you forever are going to be making money off of my likeness and something that I created? And my family is going to struggle. My family is going to fall on hard times. My kids are not going to be able to go to college. Addiction is going to be my way of self-medicating to cope with having to work until I'm 90 years old. When all these labels and these record companies have to do are fair deals. All they have to do is work together with the 5 of us who still give a fuck to figure out ways to preserve what we contribute to the world. See, we can talk all day about Puffy, like we talked all day about R. Kelly, like we talked all day about this one, like we talked all day about that one, until another one come along. And just think about it, you guys. Start counting. Like really do some self-inventory and say to yourself, like, how many creatives and artists that we had in the world that brought so much and contributed so much that met an early unfortunate demise or ended up in jail for some creepy shit. So as we watch this Puffy thing and we see how this thing plays out, Right. Phyllis, Whitney, Mickey. Hey. I'm just saying. The same people been running the industry forever. And again, I'm one of the few people who speaks truth to power. So I got my own battles that I'm fighting right now with corporate America, right? But when I see an industry that I love so much and I see another mogul, and clearly he has done something wrong, and clearly he is going to pay for it. And shame on him for everything that he did that was wrong. But at the same time, I'm going to do something that a lot of people don't do. I'm going to consider his children. I'm going to consider his mother. I'm going to consider other people that I know that have relationships with this individual. And I'm going to say, let the legal system deliver whatever punishment that this man is supposed to have for the deeds that he has already done. Let the legal system stop him from ever being able to do that shit ever again to anybody else. But let the legal system also pull back the curtain and take a look at all those enablers. That same spirit of enabler that was with Whitney, the same spirit of enabler that was with R. Kelly, the same spirit of enabler that was with Tory Lanez and them in the car. It's a spirit that allows this shit to constantly happen to our creatives. That needs to be addressed as well. And I don't want people to get so caught up in putting a face on it that they forget the energy of the enabler. Because what really is sickening is when you hear all of these women say, or not all of these women, but I was listening to, and that's my dog snoring in the background. What's really sickening as hell to me is when you hear women say that the men would see them being abused in the Puffy situation, bodyguards and security, and they'd be like, oh, I'm gonna let y'all handle that. I'm gonna let y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like, where is, like, what, huh? I was talking to Sarah Stokes. Her film is deep, dark, and very real. And one of the things that she was so disappointed about was the fact that when we did this in 2017, long before all of these P. Diddy allegations, all the feedback I was getting from all the labels and all the networks and all the people was that it's too dark. It's too dark. In fact, we found out the first day that we were filming, we found out that Sarah's father had been molesting not only her, but as we went to digging and going further into it, we found out that this man had been molesting all of these kids in the community. And let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, because this is so important. So Sarah's from Port Huron, which is a city in Michigan. And Sarah was being molested by her mother's boyfriend. And then her father came, took her out of the mother's house from being molested, put her into his house with his wife, her stepmother. And then he started doing it when she was like 12 years old. So turns out that she told the police, one of her girlfriends, and you have to see the movie, you guys. It is such a powerful movie, WIRFTV.com, WIRFTV.com, because YouTube, I don't think too many places will allow this to just run because it's very graphic. But Sarah discovered that one of her friends had been molested by her father as well. Turns out it was like 3 or 4 girls that were being molested by Sarah's father. The friend went and told the police, right? The police basically were like, we don't know. We don't believe Sarah. Long story short, friend ended up moving out of town. Sarah ended up going into a mental hospital and almost took her own life, right? We discovered through research that at the time that Sarah and her friend were telling the police what was happening in Port Huron, the mayor or chief or someone connected to Port Huron was in the middle of an investigation for something, doing something similar to children. I went to school with a music teacher who molested several young boys in our high school. We did a movie called Social Conflict based on one of my best friends who was one of the victims of that music teacher's molestation. I love that music teacher. That music teacher was part of the reason why I went and got additional dollars for scholarship to go to college. That music teacher never did anything to me. Our parents would drop us off when we had competitions, would drop us off the night before, and because it was all boys and girls, and we thought he was, you know, how you doing? Parents were like, oh, I don't think he's going to try to do anything to the girls. Turned out that raggedy bastard who can rot in hell was actually molesting young boys who came while we were upstairs and the boys were in the basement. He was molesting them kids, right? And we did a film about it. And of course, you know, people don't want to hear and see true shit like that, which is why when I talk about stuff like what's going on with Puff and, you know, R. Kelly and whatever, I don't mean to come off flippant. It's just, I've been fighting this battle my whole life, my whole life. And I've realized that unless it's Puffy, or unless it's R. Kelly, or unless it's Bill Cosby, nobody gives a flying frog leg about the victims. And not only that, the powers that be, the people at my high school, the principals, the people who ran the schools did nothing. Sarah went and told what was happening with her to the police station and the people in the mayor's office, and there was something going on over there, right? So when we start talking about what Puff is doing, and we start talking about what all these other people in this industry are doing, the only reason why we're so captivated by it, is because, right, eat their asses up. All of them child predators. Get their asses. Go get them. Go. Let me close my door. I got him out of here. Go get him. Reset the room. So when we start talking about all this terrible shit that's happening out here, all I'm saying is, I hope this prosecutor pulls back the curtain on the wizard. Because just like with R&B divas, there is a wizard involved. Let me get into some questions and some comments. Stop talking so damn much. Forever, facts. But Nikki, the label builds people up to be their stage persona, and people want the natural them. They want who you see on stage. I'm sorry, destroyed the black culture. Yes, industry blitz. The black culture is destroyed. My mom was in a group. Centennial says, my mom was in a group in the 90s, and I used to wonder why she would tell me things to keep me away. I've had my own experience, and now I understand. You know what's really funny? I had people in my family who used to feel like I wasn't looking out for them, and people that I knew who used to feel like I wasn't looking out for them because I wasn't putting them on or helping them get a deal. Once I figured out what I was dealing with in this industry, and I figured that shit out early. Well, I'm still figuring it out, but I figured out early that my dad said it. My dad said this shit to me, and I was like, Dad, I cannot believe that you actually said that, but he was so right. He said this industry, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way to any of the victims of this Puffy thing, but he said this industry was made up of pimps and you know what's, and you got to decide what role you're going to play. And I just thought that was the worst analogy ever. Like, why would you say that? Why do you have to make a decision to either pimp somebody out or be a hoe? And my dad was basically trying to explain to me that it's not about what you think this industry should be. It's about what this industry is and has always been and has always represented. And at the end of the day, no matter how much you buy dresses and hair and makeup and glamour, I mean, look at it. Whitney Houston had all the greatest dresses. She had all the greatest glam folks. She had all the greatest superstar diva stuff, as did Mariah Carey, as did Barbra Streisand, as did every other major diva out here. And look at where they all are now. It's not all about money and fame. Where is the quality of life? Where is the artist development that goes into you actually knowing how to not just be a performer and an artist, but a decent human being with a decent amount of character? So when I make comments like, wow, it would be great if record labels would drug test artists. Okay, realistically, we know. And people rolled their eyes and sucked their teeth and like, bitch, please, that's not going down. And again, let me be clear. I'm not saying you just randomly be like, pee in a cup. Let me see what you've been doing. But if you exhibit behaviors and they start to realize you're not showing up on time for shit, you're reacting a certain way in interviews, you falling asleep, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. At that point, it would seem like a record label who sees an asset as great as some of the ones we've lost would intervene. And the reason I was saying it should be something that they should make law is because the average person, when they become a superstar, is like, who are you talking? You work for me. You do what I say do. And they make you believe that that's how that shit actually goes down until you have one of these aha moments like Puff just had. Or you have one of those aha moments like all of our other major artists have had. There should be something in the agreements, since they want to put perpetuity in those agreements, since they want to put we can charge you for air in those agreements, there should be something in those agreements that allows creatives and artists that contribute in perpetuity to the wealth of the company to get some kind of help when it starts to become too difficult. And a lot of times that's when people turn to drugs and alcohol and abuse and allowing themselves to be abused. I'm not about to speculate on who the next people are. Christopher Smith said, it's like one person is fake from you if they're doing well when we all can do well. Right. Yeah. It's crabs in a barrel mentality is crazy in the entertainment industry. And they use and leverage us against each other in ways that just really destroy and divide. They have literally killed off love songs, and R&B just weaponized music against us all, affecting us in some households 3 generations with garbage lyrics. Yes, that's what I'm saying, you guys. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, why is it that our narratives and our stories are controlled by misogynistic men in media, culturally incompetent men in media, toxic, destructive men in media? Like, give me a freaking break. Puffy controlled the entertainment industry for a whole 30 years. He controlled the music business. And not just the music business, everybody wanted to be at a Puffy party. That's why I don't hang around none of these people. It's so funny. Somebody was like, oh, that's why you don't get invited to the such and such. Bitch, please. Invited to the what? Invited where? To who? I'm not impressed by anybody in this industry. Like, because I've seen behind the curtain, I know that it is a vapor. I know the money's going to disappear. I know that the fame is an accident. I know the only thing that matters is character. I know that for a fact. I've seen the biggest of them tumble. Though nobody impressed me, not a soul in this industry, not one person. Now, I'm impressed by people's talents and their gifts, but what they got and what show they on and what party they got invited to and what red carpet they on and what dress they wearing, that's some bullshit. Who cares? Baby, what's going on in here? Baby, what's going on in here? And I know how toxic and destructive this industry is. And I know chances are what's going on in here is a lot of brokenness. Think about it. Think about all the artists that have been touched and impacted by Diddy. So what happens when you mute Diddy like you muted R. Kelly? What happens then? The people who own the masters, who own the songs, are still going to be playing them and getting them streams off of Spotify and Apple Music. People who own the video still going to be getting them views on YouTube. Because there are always going to be people who's be like, I don't care, we ain't going, no. And then if you mute him, think about all the people whose lives will be impacted by that decision, who are innocent, who have shit to do with his decisions and his choices. So we so quick to throw the baby out with the bathwater and move on to the next person that's done some terrible shit in this industry without actually taking a step back and saying, how do we, as consumers, as artists, as creatives, as women, as men, as people who care about our community, how do we figure out how to fix, resolve some of the issues that are destroying not just the creatives in our community, but our people, our actual people. I go back to what I said earlier. See Dolores Tucker. See Dolores Tucker said it real plain and real simple and real clear. We're going to end up exactly where we are today. She took it to Congress. They gave her a label that said parental advisory, but they did not listen to this woman when she said these narratives, these constant reminders of lies. You a hoe, you a bitch, you ain't shit, suck my this, let's party, let's get wasted, let's be on demon time. All of these mantras that we keep repeating to ourselves, that we keep allowing our children to repeat. All this nostalgic, toxic, destructive shit that lady tried to tell us, and we didn't want to listen. We wanted to call her auntie. We wanted to call her a B. They made a whole song about it. Wonder why they call you B. And that lady was trying to save us from where we at today. And that's the reason why when I get on my lives and I share with you guys the way that I do, I don't really get too fazed by people's opinions because not too many people have lived and worked in this industry the way that I have the experiences, the lived experiences that I do. So I expected people to be talking out the side of their neck like they know some shit that they don't. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I know that lack of ownership, lack of people who understand the value of ownership, actually explaining that and sharing that with people under them or beside them or near them who look like them. Why are there 5 moguls and 4 out of the 5 of them have been involved in controversies that they are not coming back from? Why is this the example of why you don't give no money? Why you don't give no opportunity? But the crazy thing is women, Black women in particular, have never been given an opportunity to have the power to grow this industry into what it needs to become. See, we're silenced because we're difficult. I mean, who the fuck? Like, can we revisit this difficult shit? Because when I look back on an industry built on misogyny, built on patriarchy, built on racism, built on the backs of creative people who die broken, broke, mentally unstable, or in jail because they're engaging in activities where somebody's been putting a battery in your back, encouraging you and allowing you to continue with the destruction. See, this Diddy thing is not going to just negatively impact him. And I want everybody to understand it is not just about Diddy's decisions negatively impacting him. We have a whole entire culture that has been controlled by that narrative for 30 years. We have a whole entire community of people that have been controlled by that toxic, destructive narrative for 30 years that have to now watch and realize that that shit was all a sham. And everybody who tried to speak truth to power, everybody who was labeled difficult, everybody who was labeled a problem, now has to sit back and look at 30 years in their lives and careers where they know without a doubt they have been prevented from having opportunities because people like Diddy were elevated and people who cared about artists and creatives and artist development were not. And they were elevated by people who have a responsibility to artists, people who should have a responsibility to artists. This Diddy rabbit hole goes so deep, the indictment doesn't even scratch the surface. Hopefully, Cassie and Don coming out gives hope to others to speak out. I hope so too. Somebody said the vapors. This is not new. The whispers have been going on forever. Yes, Diddy sinned and he must repent. I agree. We're all sinners and we should all repent. Therapy and truth can heal a generation. That's why I'm so proud and thankful of you for speaking. Right, you guys, listen, I don't always say it the right way or in a way that, doesn't annoy people because I don't really know how to sugarcoat. I just say what the hell I got to say and hope that you understand that it's coming from a place of love and wanting us to heal. Artist, he is right, absolutely. Bad Boy for Life. Diddy sang a song about his, yes, he did. My personal opinion is record labels are more about the artist don't care about the artist development because they place life insurance on the artist to protect their investment, and that's where and that's a shame. Right? That's a shame because think about it, you guys. What are we listening to moving forward? What is our community going to pass down? Like Frankie Beverly is a classic example of success without a major record label. If there is one example of authentic success just based on being a creative, developed, talented artist, it would be Frankie Beverly. Because Maze did what? One album, maybe two? And they were able to tour for years and impact positive people's lives in a positive way for many, many years, just based on, they didn't have no record label and no 360 deal. Kells was trying to get his masters reversed back to himself. He filed in 2022 and he got the case activated. Yes. Okay. So let me say this real quick for every artist out there. They don't want you to know this, but I'm going to say it anyway, just because my name is Nikki Gilbert Daniels and I don't give up about fearing how important it is for artists to know how you can spread generational wealth and wellness to your family. So there's something called a copyright rule. It's a 35-year copyright reversion, right? So every creative and every artist, tell every artist that you know who may not be aware of this, there is something called a 35-year copyright rule, which basically allows you to revert all of your rights, no matter what it is, author, singer, writer, you wrote a book, whatever, movie, TV show, whatever. Every 35 years, it goes back to you. Now, you need to get a lawyer because, unfortunately, I was talking to Eric Monte's family, the creator of Good Times, and they weren't aware of that. And that is how artists end up, in perpetuity. Perpetuity isn't a word that you have to live by. It is actually a word that means forever, but due to the Copyright Reversion Act, you can get all of your copyrights back, you guys. So make sure if you're creative or an artist and you've been around for a while, and I often wonder how all of a sudden, right around the time that happens, that all kind of crazy shit starts to happen to people. But here's the thing, guys. We be running with all these conspiracy theories and things. Lawyers and court systems and legal systems are the only way that you can change it. That is why I fight as hard as I do. Because I've learned over the course of this 4-year trial that I've been a part of. Well, I haven't been to trial. I'm trying to get to trial. Hello, is this thing on? I know Diddy going to trial. Can I get to trial? Yeah. No, I get a summary judgment. When you're going to win a case, they give you summary judgment. But when you're going to lose, you can go to trial. So the media companies can make money off of people watching it every day. But anyway, make sure that you guys are aware of that. It's a very important point for you to remember because, again, artists make money in perpetuity. Let me give y'all a little perspective. We sold 3.5 million records. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. We've sold 3.5 million albums, Brownstone, at $10 a pop. That's $35 million, right? $10, 3.5, $35 million. Or 30.5, whatever, right? I'm not a mathematician. I just know we sold 3.5 million records, $10 a pop. There is a little box in red parentheses that says, I still owe lots and lots and lots of money to my record label. I'm 22, 23 years old. I'm signing a deal that says once you recoup what you have spent on your album, then you can start making money with us. 3.5 million albums, $10 an album. My budget for my album was $350,000 for the second one, $250,000 for the first one. We may have spent in the 90s $1 million on our record. I asked for the receipts. Show me the receipts. Show me the receipts in my Whitney Houston voice. I'm told that you can't see the receipts beyond 3 years. We don't keep track of nothing after 3 years. Now, many of you saying, girl, you crazy. You better call a lawyer? Call an attorney to do 4 years and not get to trial? And have the judge say, no, we're going to make you pay them because your ass actually fought for your rights? See, we live in a world where they just tell us what they're not going to do and dare us to sue them because they know that litigations are impossible for people who have been oppressed and stolen from. Anyway, you don't have the $30 million that you want to try to go get because that's about what it's going to take to get it from us. So you wake up every day of your life knowing that you're being robbed in broad daylight. And the only way that you can prevent from being robbed in broad daylight is to sue people. And you can't sue a $1 billion corporation. It just doesn't work. Yet. Until we win this appeal. That is why I fight. See, for those of us who have been in the industry for years, we've known what y'all just found out yesterday. We lived it. We've been in rooms where it's happened. You hear the girl Dawn, what she said, the woman Dawn, what she said. People talking about what they know, what they experienced. And then when you talk about what you know and you talk about what you experienced and you talk about the atrocities that have happened to you, then you end up being called a clout chaser, a hater, somebody who just mad because they ain't getting no DeLeon, or somebody who mad because they ain't in P Valley's TV show. So you can't win for losing as an artist when you tell the truth about the things that have happened to you. Cassie told everybody what happened. She put it in the claim. She filed a claim with a court. And nobody believed her until they saw the video. I got a video. 57 comparisons and a meeting that I had with the CEO. But these people do not care. Because they understand there's nothing that you can do. It's unfair. It's terrible. And it's hard to swallow. But it's just the truth and the reality of what it means to be in the entertainment industry. Ain't nobody in this business rich like that. Maybe 5 people. Most artists are struggling to pay the bills. Most artists tour because they have to. And then you've now been labeled, put on this pedestal where like everybody knows you and everybody's familiar with your ass. And you got to figure out how to get groceries for your kids. When speaking of the R&B Divas franchise, when we first, started doing the one-on-one conversations, listening to Lily talk about when she was in her valley, when she was homeless, listening to Selena talk about how she just wanted to feed her kids, and Kiki talk about how she just wanted to feed her kids. Looking at Sarah Stokes having suffered domestic violence at the hands of her ex-husband and the one previous to that, having suffered child molestation by her stepfather and her biological dad, and then having gone to New York to pursue her dreams as an artist and a creative with Diddy. How triggering must those experiences have been for her and for any other woman or artist or creative who's had to deal with that shit? You got human resources at Publix. You got a counselor that you can go to at the plant. You know? There are laws in place that protect people who have regular jobs. But artists and creatives can forget about it. There is no higher up that you can go complain to. People, why she ain't say that before? Why she won't? Because that's not how it works for us. Women in the entertainment industry are some of the most abused, disrespected, neglected, damaged, traumatized people that you will ever meet. Because most artists and creatives have to tap into a space and a place that is, for a lot of people, dark and a harsh reminder of childhoods and experiences growing up that they would like to forget. And then they go and they become a part of an industry that exploits that trauma, that magnifies and amplifies that trauma. And it's just terrible. And there's nowhere to turn. There's nowhere to turn. There's nowhere to turn because when you speak truth to power, people are going to talk shit about you. And everybody doesn't have broad, big back shoulders like I got. This is a big back. Baby, I can handle a lot, thank God. But so many people cannot. So when you ask why people don't speak up about the Puff situation and why they just now speaking up now, who you gonna tell? Who you gonna tell? They didn't respect Michael Jackson. They didn't respect Prince. They didn't respect the greatest of the greats, Bob Marley. They're not going to respect Nikki Gilbert and this person and that person and the other person. Just like the man told me, if it don't make 1 billion impressions, it don't matter. So I challenge everybody while we're going through this whole, like, did he do it? First, let me say this real quick. Please like, subscribe, please. I'm YouTube. Worth.tv YouTube. I got to do the YouTube housekeeping. Thank you for telling the truth. I've been telling my clients this for years, and most are very disheartened when they hear the truth. And then Christopher says, because you can't speak to a coworker and say you're going to HR. Right, exactly. What you going to do? And the thing is, it's crazy because people were criticizing me for speaking out when Whitney Houston passed away. She had just all up in front of a microphone, can't wait, blah, 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 blah. But please, I'm out here trying to let these people know that we've just lost the greatest voice of our time. And everybody's acting all surprised and shocked when people saw the shit happening for years. You saw what was happening with Whitney for years. You saw what was happening with Puff for years. And it doesn't matter until they die or go to jail. We become billionaires and millionaires and successful based on entertainment and sports. Why is there not more support from labels and powers that be that make lots and lots of money off of us? Why is there not more support? Why? Andrew Carter says, broke my heart when I saw Bushwick Bill breakdancing on a piece of cardboard for money on Venice Beach when they had a reality show called Freak Show, and the women would have all, yeah. Cousin, you speaking the truth. Love you. Thank y'all. I appreciate you guys for listening, and it's therapeutic for me because, like I said, So many people aren't who've been in the industry are not going to talk about this. So, because I mean, like people say, it doesn't affect their everyday lives like that, you know? But I pray that those of you who can hear and those of you who do care think beyond the salacious headlines and don't just read the headlines, but actually dive in and dig into the story and understand that these are real, actual human people that we're talking about. People are more concerned about what Diddy did, when he did it, how he did it, how much baby oil he had, oh, how they got him, than they are the victims. They're real victims involved in this situation. We don't know what the details are. We don't know how young, we don't know how impressionable, we don't know. And the other thing we don't know is who else was involved, who was an enabler. That enabler spirit is a dangerous one. Because here's the thing about the enabler spirit. It's just going to go on and enable the next Diddy. It's just going to go on and enable the next misogynist. It's going to just go on and enable the next toxic, destructive person who is going to continue to add nothing but trauma to our lives. When you hear artists today selling their catalog today for millions of dollars, is the 35-year copyright law what artists are doing today? I can't speak for other artists because I don't know. But I mean, artists are not selling their catalogs for millions of dollars if they don't have to. I don't know that many people on the regular level who selling their catalog for millions of dollars, right? But imagine if a person is willing to pay you millions of dollars for your catalog, it's because they know that this company is going to go on and continue to make money for the owners of the company and their families in perpetuity. Why can't artists be in situations where they don't have to sell their catalogs in their lifetimes, right? When you saw what happened with Michael Jackson and his mom, yeah? And the fact that these people now have the power to sell his catalog. There's nothing you can do because you can't fight corporations that have billions of dollars and lawyers everywhere. What do you do? It's jacked up. It should be able to stay in their family for generations. The Michael Jackson music, the Michael Jackson legacy, the Michael Jackson brand should all be owned by the Jackson family in partnership with those other people. And that's what I want people to really gather in this conversation. I'm not saying that artists should just get 100% ownership of everything and not have people who are partners in distributing and licensing and all that other stuff, but they should always have at least half, even a third or a quarter. And most artists don't even have that. Most artists do not even have that. And it's so sad. You're making history for us. Proud of you. Thank you so much. I certainly hope so. I felt bad about Aretha Franklin. Look at what happened with Aretha Franklin's family. Hey, Felicia. Hi, sister. Can you speak to a coworker? Because you can't speak to a coworker. Say, right. Okay, I read that already. So yeah, guys. I think it's salacious, and a lot of people are really like, ooh, Diddy, ooh, Diddy, ooh, Diddy. But there's a much bigger problem than Diddy. And the reason I say that is because we had the same problem with Cosby. We had the same problem with R. Kelly. We had the same problem with Tory Lanez. I mean, different circumstances and different situations, but ultimately very powerful men who were, when you think about, you guys, recently, a couple years ago, there was this whole issue with one of the representatives from the Grammys saying that women needed to work harder, right? There's so much misogyny in this media, right? I truly believe, and it's interesting because we talk about the election. I know I just hit a corner, but ride with me on this for a second. We're looking at, for the first time in the history of our country, the opportunity for us to be led by a woman of color. And when we look at them side by side, the choice is clear. She's overqualified to be president of the United States. She's held all of these positions that have proven that she knows what the hell she's doing. And here's somebody who is the antithesis of overqualified and knows what the fuck they're doing. And we're actually having a conversation about this person being the president of the United States. It's no different than what happens in the entertainment industry. I know so many women who are overqualified to run this business. I know so many women who understand the tools and the resources that creatives need to actually live positive, meaningful lives, right? I know so many women who would demand excellence from creatives and artists and not just for people to talk about their booty hole being brown. I know so many women who would run this industry in a way that not only help restore the greatness and art and creativity that we're missing so much, but would also make great business decisions and help improve the narratives that are projected to our community. I know so many women that would not drug and R-word people. I know so many women who would just be so overqualified to fix the problem in the entertainment industry. And the misogyny just will not let it ride. And it's sad because just like with this election, there are people who would rather sit back and watch this country fall apart than put a woman in position to fix it. We have watched this industry fall apart. There's never been a woman. Sylvia Rome and maybe a few others have been given position and given power in certain situations. But that's not enough. We deserve more opportunities. Nikki, I have a question for you. Not to change the subject, but with 28 years and 4 days after Tupac passed, what was your friendship like with him? Tupac was one of the coolest brothers, and this is an example of what I was talking about earlier. Like, we all have different experiences with people. Tupac was one of the coolest brothers I ever met. I remember one of my favorite memories of him is when he got out of jail and he told me he listened to Don't Cry For Me over and over and over again. He was like, I listened to that over and over again. It's just that, just this. And I was just geeked because I'm like, Pac. And then I just remember him being very creative and very excited and very passionate. And I forgot how young we were, y'all. I forgot how young we were when Tupac passed away. I forgot how young we were when we thought we knew everything. And when I think about it, it really breaks my heart because we're in our 50s now. And I think about what a 50-year-old Tupac would mean for our community. I think about what a 50-year-old Biggie would mean for our community. I think about what songs Michael Jackson would be writing right now based on all the things we're going through. I think about what Prince would. I just think about what my fellow creatives would be doing in this time and what they would be contributing to our world in this time. And I just feel like everybody would just feel better. I remember thinking when Prince passed away, I was in New York and I was like surreal. Look, I'm just gonna keep it real. I was in New York in the district trying to get me a Louis. Hello. Y'all know what I'm talking about back in the day, honey. Well, it wasn't that long ago, but yeah. Somebody was like, you go down. Da, 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 da. And I remember we were standing outside waiting for the lady to come with the Louis. Should I be saying this? We standing outside waiting for the lady to come with the Louis. And somebody was like, oh my God, Prince died. And I was like, what? And then people started looking at their phone like, oh my God, Prince died. And people look. And it was just like this, like time just literally slowed down. And I'm just looking around for my husband because I'm looking for him to come from the ATM machine to get the money for the Louis. And I'm like, where is my husband? Oh my God, Prince. And I remember a thought that went into my head was, wow, they have taken another vibration out of this planet that we so desperately needed to get through. Y'all got to understand how important artists and creatives are. Okay. Hey, buddy. It's time for me to get off. Okay. Same here, sis. I met Pac in '92 in Indianapolis, Black Expo, everything. I'm still under 2 hours, especially a sober Whitney Houston. Are you kidding me? A sober Whitney Houston, baby. Listen, a sober artist and creative, and that's so. Let me get back to that, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about this. Probably tomorrow, because this Diddy thing is obviously going to be happening every single day. And we're going to cover it and talk about it and give a different perspective. And that was the whole point when I got on here and I said, it's not about to be about me dragging Diddy, because everybody on YouTube and on the news and on CNN and everybody's dragging him. My question is, where does the onus fall on the people who put him in power to be able to do what he did? Because somebody knew what was going on with him, just like somebody knew what was going on with Whitney and everybody else. Andron says, who groomed Diddy? Who groomed Diddy? They made him into a monster, but no one talks about all the teenagers the Beatles slept with. Elvis married a yeah. Yes. Who is it? Selena got the song that says monsters in the closet. There's monsters all up and through this industry, everywhere. And that's the whole point. It's like we keep saying, let's get him out of there. Let's get him out of there. Put him in jail. Lock him under the jail. Throw him under the jail. Put him in the basement. Oh, we don't care. You did this horrible thing. There are more people involved in this than just the people who are in jail or about to go to jail. Difference is, well, that's above my pay grade. I did the Prince concert in Vegas. Yes, it's sad and it's all fishy. Like no young artist with years and years of music. Look, Willie Nelson and all of these Dolly Partons and Kenny Rogers and all of these amazing country artists live a long time. I'm about to start singing country. Holla at your girl, Chrisette. Why is it always R&B artist? It's always the R&B artist. It's always the R&B artist. And it's always very young or right around the time that copyright come rolling around. Let me get to a couple more questions. I remember the 8-year-old me having a conversation with Prince, and I compare it to talking to him in my 40s and him smiling and laughing. We miss Prince, yes. They say his mother, well, okay, I'm not gonna get all off into that. I gotta be careful to read these things before I start reading them out loud. Guys, I think at the end of the day, what we have to do as a community of people is start listening to victims the first time, right? So many people I know who are victims are afraid to speak up and speak out because for fear of people not caring or people judging them for speaking up. And I know that it's very dark and heavy and traumatic and triggering when we start talking about things like SA. Like, we can't even say it no more. We got to call it SA, which is ridiculous. But when we start talking about that, I know it's hard because we've just got so much other stuff going on. But you guys, this is a big deal. Diddy is a big part of the culture that has been created, right? We've muted R. Kelly, we've muted Cosby, we've muted Tory, we've muted all these artists. Now I guess we have to mute Diddy. And I just feel like maybe if we spent more time holding the right people accountable, and I'm not saying Diddy's not the right person to hold accountable for what he did. I'm saying there are other people, enablers. That enabler spirit is a destructive one because clearly something is going on in that person's head. And when you have that angel and that devil sitting on your shoulder, when it's time for you to make a decision about your life, Prince got his master's back 2 years before he passed. Exactly. So was Christian talking about Tyler Perry? I don't know. Like I said, listen, you guys, and let me tread lightly because Christian is my friend. I love Christian Keys. Detroit, what up, though? Until a lawsuit is filed in the court of law, or videos and recordings are dropped, like in the case of Cassie and me with P Valley, it's all just speculation, and you can't buy into it. I still listen to R. Kelly. I can separate the person from the artist. I hear a lot of people saying that. I have a really hard time listening to Age Ain't Nothing But a Number and Bump and Grind knowing that he was messing around with underage girls. I can't see him the same. But then I'm also the person, like, if you come around me and your breath ain't right, it could be a once in a lifetime thing, and I'm still like, every time I see you, I'm like, this three. So I'm a little different. Someone said, right, enabler spirits is correct, and all the artists falls right. That's why, listen, let me tell y'all something. I'm very, what's the word that they used to that describes me? It is ambivert. I'm very the ambivert. I go do what I need to do, show up, smile, present, have a good time, and I go about my business. I've never been one who has been of this industry. I've always been, I ain't got time for it because fake energy and me, we don't get along. I could spot fight fake energy. I got eyes, fake energy eyes in the back of my head. Brownstone's album was bomb. Thank you so much, Brownstone. Speaking of Brownstone, let me switch it up a little bit real quick. We have a show this weekend in Stonecrest. So if you're in Georgia, come holler at your girl. We're doing something out in the community, and it is super dope. Go to the @Brownstone official page, and you'll see we're doing something honoring Mayor of Stonecrest this weekend. We're having a cute little tete-a-tete, and then I'm being honored in Houston, in Texas. I'm sorry. This weekend as well. And then next week, my sister is having another brain surgery. So we're going in and we're going to ask you guys to please pray for a successful surgery. For those of you who don't know, we are, as a family, battling glioblastoma. Brownstone's 30-year anniversary is January 10th, 2025. If You Love Me turns 30 years old October 24th, 2024. So you guys make sure you go to @Brownstone Official. Yes, we are recording. If I know you mentioned you recording music for the first Brownstone album, that was not. Yes, first Brownstone album. If You Love Me, 5 Miles to Empty, all of them records. 5 Miles to Empty was actually on the second album. If You Love Me, Grapevine, Sometimes Dance were all on the first. Congratulations and prayers. Thank you guys so much. As it relates to the P Valley situation, I'm gonna leave you guys with this. Like I said before, there's so many places that. All right, let me think about how I'm gonna say this. We're in oral arguments. We're going to oral arguments in December. I need y'all to pray. It'll be on YouTube. I love you too. It'll be on YouTube for all the world to see. You guys, please support creatives, especially women in this industry. You see how things are happening with women in this industry. It should be no secret. If Puff was put in position to do all the things that he was doing, that a lot of great women who could make great contributions to the entertainment industry were blocked from having that opportunity to do that. And that is something that the industry needs to make right. Talk about reparations. All the artists that didn't want to participate in freak off parties should have a do-over. All them contracts should be void. I mean, think about it. That's something to consider. You've actually enabled some behavior that would warrant brand new contract negotiations. Now, if you want to help the industry and improve the lives of creatives, that would be the thing to do. And let me tell you why that makes sense. because we're not buying hard copies of records anymore. And when we negotiated those contracts, we were negotiating those contracts based on hard copies of records. Now music is coming out of thin air. So we need an out of thin air contract because, again, Brownstone, and we just sold 3.5 million. I have a whole new understanding of TLC. When you're talking about selling 50 million albums, 60 million albums, 100 million albums, 100 million albums at $10 a pop, should nobody owe you shit on the book in the red. And we damn sure don't owe nobody nothing after 35 million records sold and we spent less than $1 million making the album. But again, that argument and that conversation means nothing without lawyers who care. And if you are a lawyer, a legal mind, a rich person who wants to help artists get some equity and equality in this world, go to fromthebottomupfoundation.org and click on Creatives for Equality. We are having a very big conversation about, real quick, another plug. National Museum of African American Music in Nashville. I'm on a panel to talk specifically about this issue that we're talking about right now, which is why have I sold $30 million worth of albums and I still owe these people $1 million? Right? Real simple math. Start all over, especially with this Diddy shit. So we're going to keep covering it, you guys. Please, I love to see so many. Thank y'all for hanging out. Instagram, y'all a little lightweight, but that Twitter and that YouTube is on fire. I appreciate y'all. Please support. I'm always going to speak truth to power. I'm not always right. I'm a little long-winded. I'm a little all over the place, but smart people can follow me. And I'm going to be doing it right here on my YouTube channel. I really appreciate you guys for riding with me. Don't wait until you see a video of a woman being drugged through a hotel lobby and having vases and shit thrown at her. If a woman in this industry is telling you that shit is foul, chances are she's telling you the truth. So I appreciate you guys. Real quick, somebody says, when will you be in Nashville? I will be in Nashville. I believe it's October 5th, October 4th and 5th. Look up the National Museum for African American Music. And I'm speaking on a wonderful panel about reparations in the music industry. No, about artists not getting paid. Because that's some bullshit, honey iced tea. That's a whole nother thing. Y'all want to really fix a problem? Then get a grand jury to look at these books. Because ownership is the only way that our community will ever have a real shot at generational wealth and generational wellness. I don't care what anybody else tells you. It's a lie. The only way you can get to it is ownership. And Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey and Byron Allen and all these other super wealthy Black people who understand how important ownership is should be giving master's classes for those of us who need to know more about it. All right. So I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. It's been 2 hours, but it was worth it because it was Diddy. And I'm glad to see that there are people still here. Exactly. Infinity and residual income. Yes. Take the perpetuity out of the contracts. Don't nobody need to be in a contract for perpetuity unless they have ownership or co-ownership for in perpetuity. And those are the conversations we're having. Yes. Michael Jackson and the AT. We're going to talk about all that. Y'all come back tomorrow. It's midnight, so I'm going to get off of this live. But come back tomorrow because we'll unpack a little bit more and I'll be a little more prepared and a little less off the cuff. Okay, so I appreciate y'all. This is Nights with Nikki. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Y'all, I'm mad at everybody on this live because you did not tell me that my logo was not showing. Let me put it up there just so that it's branded if somebody come and try to take this video. I love you guys. Pray for Diddy's children. Pray for Diddy's family because these people they have not been convicted of a crime or indicted, right? And you can still do that and still be like, shame on him for what he did. Okay? All right, y'all. Peace and love. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe.